had a conversation with my aunt, and she was just busting down all of the necessary things that a person can possibly think of when it comes to all the tricks to stop worrying, to stop thinking about things, to stop processing it over and over and over again the way you wanted it to be processed. And she's from Guyana, so she got that really deep accent. And I thought it was very interesting the way she was dropping the jewels. You know what I'm saying? What are you worrying? You worrying about what? You can't change it. So I'm like, oh, okay. So this normally leads to a conversation, a 4 or 5 hour conversation. And, her thing is letting us know that, whatever stems from the problem is normally or usually a desire to be in control. That's how she relayed the message to me. So she would say something like, "You're worrying. You're thinking about something that you can't control. The environment you can't control. The weather you can't control." I'm listening to her, and I'm like, wow. How is it so easy for her to get to that place, that place of not worrying about something that may have some type of effect on her life. I thought that was very interesting to see, be so calm about it. And she said, the more you worry, the more you try to control everything around you, the more anxious you feel. And she was saying it's a vicious cycle. It's a cycle that you can't break. And you worry till you get yourself sick, and you try to gain control. And as I'm listening to her, I'm watching her make her breakfast. I'm watching her make her coffee. I'm watching her live. And there's no feeling, the best feeling in the world is to not fail in your life, not fail as a parent, not fail as a wife, not fail as a husband. And, when you hear somebody speaking the truth, they have either been there, they've experienced it, or they pretty much know how to get a handle on that thing. So she went into saying how the economy, as far as the state of the economy at this point, it can change your behavior. It can drain you. Your mental strength is what you need at its best to get through times like this. And it can also lead to toxic habits. And she was like, blaming yourself. You're blaming yourself too much. You don't have to. And I got it. I got what she was saying. You don't have to resign yourself to being a lifelong worry-some person, but you can take control of your own mind and train your thoughts to think differently. That is key. Like, how do you do that? I've had so many people ask me, how do you remain so silly? And so I'm like, I don't know how to take that. Like, how do I remain so silly? I'm gonna look at that as though it is a compliment. But they broke it down to me. It was a good friend of mine that moved to Ohio, and my first reaction to that was, Ohio? Why are you moving from New York to Ohio? And I had to stop myself because I was like, I was being selfish because I didn't want them to leave. So I was subconsciously, I was saying things. I was developing an unrealistic sense of control. A realistic sense of control, but unrealistic thought for myself, but it wasn't really for them. So I could not, in that moment, I could not believe and understand their purpose for moving, but I had to guide my mind to understand their purpose because it may have something to do with their reality of making a better life for them and their family. Had nothing to do with me. So I had to really understand. Unfortunately, I had to pull it back. I had to really understand why I was doing it. I was striking the fire, and I had no balance, and I lost control, and the conversation got a little weird. This person has been in my life since we were kids. Like, they've been in, we traveled through elementary school, through middle school, high school. So to hear them say they were moving away, whether it been in Ohio or Africa, I was hurt, and it was an unhealthy balance in that moment. So when I was asking my aunt's opinion, and that's how it arose, the whole conversation, it got to a point to where I felt trapped. And she knows what type of personality I have. She knows that I'm God-fearing. I want the best for everybody around me. But I needed to help somebody help me understand why I reacted that way. So she said, when you're faced with a problem, you're experiencing a discomfort, or you're asking yourself, is there a problem here that I can solve? Or do I need to change how I feel about the problem, right? So then she opened up my eyes to something that I clearly didn't see, right? The problem was that I wanted to stop that person from thinking of moving. So I needed to understand, most people who come into fruition of life and understanding and being able to figure out what makes them happy, what makes them sad. There isn't really a magic trick that we can all use, or a special pill that we can swallow to make us stop worrying. And it sounds ridiculous, but on the surface, it was really what I needed. I needed somebody to say, you worry too much. You worry too much. You worry too much about yourself. You worry too much about people. And the best way to handle that, and she said it's so simple, once you arrive at your worry time, as far as you worry all you want, you did what you had to do, you worry, went into a room, you went under the covers, you're thinking, you're worrying, and you sit and you think about all the worries that you have, outside and inside. It's in your control to worry. You can even write them down if you prefer. And this is what she said. It made a lot of sense. She said, after 15 minutes has passed, tell yourself it's time to get back to your everyday life. And it snapped in my head. It was like a light bulb. Get up and go, she said. Get up and get back to your usual business. She said, be consistent with what you practice, but also give yourself time to worry. Give yourself 15 minutes to worry, but after that 15 minutes is up, build your own mental muscle to move on. Becoming mentally in charge and stronger requires you to have a balance, a sense of balance. And after all, you can do it in a moment of peace. You can do it in a moment of increase. Build some type of factor around you. That's what she was saying. And I got to tell you this. I'm going to tell you this. And I'm going to share this with you. The weather, the economy, and how other people behave is none of your business. You have no control over other people and what they do. What other people do is none of your business. Let me tell you, it took me a long time to get that. So when you stop worrying about things that you have no control of, you'll have more time and energy to devote to the things that you do have control over. It took me years